Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 5 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Matthew Eichhorst, who is the president of Expedia CruiseShipCenters, and Mary Beth Casey, who is a franchisee of Expedia CruiseShipCenters in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And Expedia Inc. is the largest online travel company in the world, and they've partnered with Expedia CruiseShipCenters to provide travelers a one-stop shop for cruises and vacations, and that's coming right up on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. Get 3 months of free advertising when you sign up for our 1-year package. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where for 5 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Matthew Eichhorst, who is the president of Expedia CruiseShipCenters, and also Mary Beth Casey, who is a franchisee of Expedia CruiseShipCenters in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And Expedia Inc. is the largest online travel company in the world, and they've partnered with Expedia CruiseShipCenters to provide travelers one-stop shop for cruises and vacations. Hey, Matthew. Hey, Mary Beth. How you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Thanks,
Fantastic.
It's great to have both of you on the show today. You know, we've been doing the show now almost 6 years, and I think this is the first time we're having your industry or your category on the show. I don't know why it took so long, but we're very happy to have you. Matthew, I thought I'd start off with you. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Vancouver, British Columbia, and that's our head office for North America.
Ah, beautiful. My wife has been driving me crazy for years to head out that way. I know it's real beautiful out there, isn't it?
It is definitely nice, and September is a fantastic month to get up to the Vancouver and Pacific Northwest. So
that's what I understand. And Mary Beth, you're calling. Is it from Florida today?
We are. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, actually western Fort Lauderdale, in Weston, just off the Everglades.
That's fantastic. How's the weather down there today, Mary Beth?
A little cloudy and rainy, unfortunately.
Okay. That's okay. It happens. You have to have it once in a while, right?
It does.
So, Matt, let me start off with you. What is Expedia CruiseShipCenters, and, what is your involvement with them? And then I'll jump over to Mary Beth.
Well, Expedia CruiseShipCenters is primarily a retail franchise organization, or retail travel agencies that are in the franchise category. And we've got about 180 locations across North America that are made up with about 4,000 individual travel agents that are connected to those locations.
Wow, that's great. And Mary,
my involvement is...
go ahead.
I was just going to say my involvement is as president of Cruise Ship Centers International. So
that's fantastic. And what was it that attracted you to the company, Matt?
Well, myself, actually, I had a technology company once before, and Cruise Ship Centers was a client. We're in our 25th year in business, and I joined about 10 years ago after selling a business to General Electric. And so I came in as part of the management team and eventually acquired part of the business, and it's just a fascinating business to be involved in travel. For people that love that passion for travel, it is just a great business to be in.
Yeah, it seems like a fun business and, a feel-good type of business where you get to, I guess you could say, put smiles on people's faces, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got lots of customers that you're making dreams come true for them, and it's nice to be selling something to people that, changes their sort of experiences in their life. So it's great.
Yeah, it really does. It was, I guess it was about 7 years ago. My wife and I, we went on our first cruise, after we got married, and it was the best time of our lives. I mean, we almost cried when we had to come back home. It was just, it was wonderful, and then we had a son after that, so we haven't been able to get back on a cruise.
There are lots of family cruises.
I know, and we understand that too, Mary Beth. So we're looking into that right now, so we'll have to talk to you about that as well.
Oh, you can talk to my 3 kids for a reference.
Oh, really? Okay, good. Okay, that's fantastic. How about you, Mary Beth? What were you doing, before, I guess you could say, becoming a franchisee to Expedia CruiseShipCenters, a little bit about maybe your past life and what's your involvement now?
Sure. I actually was retired just before we bought the franchise. I had been for 25 years prior to that in the advertising business, ran several advertising agencies. But after retirement, around 2008, with the rumble of the economy, we decided it was important, my husband and I, to find something that might carry us through some turbulent times we thought were coming up, and had an open mind, quite frankly, about what we were going to buy, but we knew we wanted to buy a franchise. And once we did our due diligence, we were convinced that Expedia Cruise Ship Centers was the absolute right one for us.
That's fantastic. I took my wife to I've been involved in franchising now for 10 years, and I took her to a first show at the Jacob Javits Center in New York, and she was a little overwhelmed at all the different franchise opportunities, and I said, God, this isn't even like, a fraction of it. How did you know, Mary Beth? I mean, what was it about, Expedia that stood out, and you said, this is what I want to do? Because there's just so many choices out there, isn't there?
There are.
Where do you begin?
Well, we kind of narrowed our band in that my husband has been in the hospitality business for 30 years. I had been in the branding business, if you will, with a little bit of hospitality. So we wanted to do something that the two of us could contribute our past experiences to and feel confident and comfortable. And so obviously the idea of travel was appealing. As Matthew already said, it's a really fun, wonderful business and helping people plan their lives, their vacations. But it was also about the branding capability and the technology that we have. So it just came together. And then on top of that, if it wasn't good enough on paper, when we met the team that was heading up the Vancouver headquarters, we were most impressed with their ability not only to lead in an industry that was looking for leaders, but to see the future. I think the vision that was helping Expedia Cruise Ship Centers grow was something that we aspired to.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too, because that's so important. You know, it's one of the themes that we've emphasized, you know, over the years is, you know, to look towards the leadership, you know, of the company. You know, people like, you know, Matthew running the company. You know, it's so important, isn't it? And you want to make sure that there is that match. And you're mentioning branding too, Mary Beth. I mean, how much more powerful they get than Expedia. I teach marketing for Kaplan University, and I can't tell you how often the name Expedia has come up. So it's a very powerful name. So that's fantastic. So what cruises and services do you offer? And the question could be either for Matt or Mary Beth.
Go ahead, Mary Beth.
Okay. Well, we are really a full-service agency. Our specialty is in cruises. Our deepest relationships are with our cruise partners. But as an organization that looks to have clients come back to us, obviously we want to do our very best for them, and that means we have to be available to sell them any products and services they're interested in. So as time has gone on, we've developed deeper relationships with land partners and other services, insurance, et cetera, that we know our clients are looking to purchase. So, well, again, we focus on cruises, but are happy to plan full vacations.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the only thing I'd add to that is that you know, when we approach selling a cruise to a customer, we really try and think of it as their complete vacation experience, because you know, there's many places you can go and just buy a cruise, and really your cruise is you got to think from the door to door, whether it's getting to the airport, getting to that city, and maybe some tours while you're at that city, et cetera. And so, like, what does the experience look like, not just the actual cruise transaction? And Mary Beth's team does a great job at that.
That's fantastic. So, Matt, maybe you can describe, you know, what's your relationship with Expedia and how do you leverage that relationship to benefit your franchisees?
Yeah, it's been a very good relationship. I've got some history with strategic partnerships and acquisitions, and sometimes they don't always go well. And this one's been a partnership right from the very beginning. And I think when we first got together and sort of said, how do we want to work together, that was in 2007. So we've got about a 5.5-year history now, where it's been nothing but how do we complement each other's two core business models. And so how we work together today is really trying to look at some of the, you know, the benefits from a company like Expedia being the largest online travel player, and going, how do we integrate that into a traditional distribution channel where you have you know, agents in the community working directly on a more personal relationship in an offline capacity. And so we work with them in a number of areas. One is technology for what we call our non-cruise product, so that we can get access to all of the great relationships that they have to actually get hotels and cars and all those kinds of things, because our customers need all of those things. And then also some of their global services from a corporate perspective around, you know, HR and things like that, that helps us as we're growing. And then lead generation to build our distribution channel. So if you ever wanted to be an agent working for Expedia, then we help source agents and then put those agents into franchises like Mary Beth. And it's worked really, really well. I mean, you already commented on the brand, but the brand is very, very powerful for any of our locations. It's certainly a household name.
What role has technology played in the franchise, Matt or Mary Beth? Is it sounds like it's technology driven, of course.
Yeah, I'll start with that, and then Mary Beth, from a franchise perspective, I'd love your opinion as well.
Sure.
You know, technology, there's when you look at the two teams, we're cruise specialists, so we actually write the technology for Expedia.com as well, and so we have a technology division. So we've been able to help Expedia from a cruise perspective. And then the flip side is, you know, on our individual websites, every agent in our distribution channel has their own website, and that also is for every franchise partner. And we've been able to put traditional online purchasing technology on all of those sites that go through Expedia's back end. And so if our consumers want to do some self-service around activities or car rentals or flights, they can do that not only online but also through some of our agents directly. And Mary Beth, would you add to that?
I would absolutely say that the technology, as I said originally, was a draw for me as a franchise partner. And what I've discovered is it is my right arm as it comes to reviewing any piece of data that I need or want to review in my business. But more important than that, it gives each of our consultants accessibility to instant information for what they want to do, which is be very efficient in providing recommendations to clients. So Cruise Desk is an absolute asset, and I think one of the, if not the best, CRM system and data management systems out there. And I know that anybody who joins us as a consultant, especially those who have had experience, understand the power and the asset that it is to them.
Wow, that's well said. So there's two franchise models, I understand. I was reading about them a little early on in the day. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the different franchise models and what they entail.
Sure, I'll take that. There's our retail franchise and there's our sales center franchise. And predominantly over the last 25 years, the retail franchise has been our core product offering, and that would be considered your traditional brick-and-mortar travel agency. So we've got a location, with an awning, you can go in, you serve customers there, etc. And each of those franchises has a combination of inside and outside agents. So some agents go in, 5 days a week and work out of there, and then other ones sell from maybe their home or a combination of going in and out of the office. And so they typically have about 30 agents per location, except that you've got some locations where they've had a real strategy to grow their team and stuff, and people like Mary Beth who have almost 100 agents out there. I think maybe it might even be over 100 now.
It is now.
And, and so it gives you sort of this beachhead to kind of build an extended team both inside and outside of the office. And so that's our traditional model. And then there's this other model called the sales center, which we've been doing for a couple of years, and that's going well. Part of it is in this industry, it gives us a product that kind of is targeted more in the competitive space where there's some other products out there, and this is really for someone that wants to build out a small team. And so we like a commercial space, but it might be a second floor, and it might be a team of maybe 5 agents, and so you can get in with a lower cost, and you are primarily a travel agent with a small team, whereas in Mary Beth's case, as a retail franchise, you're primarily a sales leader and you're leading the organization. And so those are the two models. And now, often what happens is the sales centers actually, once they get to a certain size, they upgrade into a more traditional full retail. So it's more of an entry point product, if that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense, yeah. So I guess that's how it started off for you, Mary Beth, right? I guess, growing, moving to, if you could describe maybe the location, or you could give like a visual, like how much space, I guess.
We have about 1,400 square feet, and we're in a strip mall, with a large grocery anchor and a bank and, a McDonald's and those kind of things. Right. So it's a very active center. We chose it for its foot traffic. And we started as a retail center, as a host agency, as our intent was. So, yes, while we started with, a dozen or so mainly center-based consultants, our objective has been and will continue to be, maintaining a solid group here at the center, and then making sure we have a good, diverse group out in the marketplace, which is for us all over the country. So although we're in Florida, we've got consultants on the West Coast, in the North, and all over in the Midwest. So that's working for us.
Wow, that's fantastic. What about the investment cost for the two franchise models, Matt, if you can go a little into that, if you can?
Sure. From a franchise fee perspective, it's just under $30,000 for the retail one, $29,000, and so that's for the retail franchise offering. And then if the sales center, it's $9,500. And so now that's your franchise fee, but you're going to have some varying degrees from a build-out perspective. If you're going to build out a beautiful center like Mary Beth's in 1,400 square feet, then you're going to have some costs associated with building that out, desks and computers and all those kinds of things. So for that sales center, it gives them an opportunity to get into the business at a lower build-out level as well. So.
What are the characteristics or traits that you look for in the franchisees, Matt? I mean, what was it, that you saw? I can kind of guess what you saw in Mary Beth. You're just talking to her this short time. But what about some of the other franchisees? What do you look for?
Well, we definitely like to see a passion for travel because that's the hook that makes people love this business. I mean, if you're a bit of an explorer and you like to get out there and experience some of the fruits of the business that you're running, it is a great opportunity. We also look for someone that likes to drive results through a team, a real team-oriented person, rather than someone do it all yourself. And there's lots of franchises like that where you go out there and you're the main employee. And this is more of a building and motivating a team. A perfect combination, I would say. Someone's a bit of a nurturer, they're a really good trainer, and they're a good motivator of their team, ability to stay focused on their plan. So whatever their plan is as far as how large they want to get, it doesn't matter so much as to their ambition. It matters more that they're focused on the plan that they set. And generally it's a second career path. So it's usually someone like Mary Beth that may or may not have retired, but has done something where they're looking to try something a little bit different and get into building their own business.
Mary Beth, this isn't a question I get to ask often because we haven't had a lot of, in all the shows we've done up to this point, it's almost like 300 shows, a lot of husband-wife franchisees, and we've always said that we're going to have that kind of show one day. And so now I have the chance to ask, but what is it like, working with your husband? I know it's a tough question to answer on the air.
Yes. Well, it's been interesting. As a matter of fact, right now he's actually back in the hotel business for a short while. He was called back to be on a hotel team. But yes, we've created this together. He was here for about a year and a half with me, side by side. We've created our workspace to be a single unit, and we had never done that before. I will say that it has been both a boost to our relationship and a challenge to our relationship.
Right.
I think what happens is you think you know each other's strengths and where each one should take the ownership, and we actually felt really good about what we designated as responsibilities under each of our areas. But as time goes on, we find wanting to do something else. We've been switching roles back and forth, which actually has been great because I think it's a great way to stay connected to each piece of the business. But when the day is done, at this point, as the single managing partner, I use him as my absolute sounding board each evening and each morning to make sure that I've got whatever ideas and thoughts and activities I'm thinking of putting forward. I get his input and usually his go get him.
I think it's great. I mean, he understands the business too.
He does, very much.
Which is fantastic. I
very
think
much.
So I appreciate you answering that question. So, how would you describe, Mary Beth, like a typical day from the morning, if there is such a thing anyway, from when you go to work
I chuckled.
to the end of the day?
When I saw your question, I chuckled. Like any entrepreneur, and I do consider as much of a shell as we've purchased, and there's so much that our corporate team provides us. As much structure as there is, every day is still an entrepreneurial adventure, and it's a people business with 100 consultants and a manager who does help us interact with them. Each day brings a new set of opportunities and challenges. And although I try to minimize the amount that I personally sell and focus more on recruitment and development of the team that I have, it's clients come first. And one thing I do know is that my day is always about the priority of clients. And I think I have two clients. I have those real clients that I choose to work with that are good clients for us.
Right.
And I also have all my consultants. I consider them to be my frontline clients, and as long as they have needs, my job is to help them find solutions and make them more successful.
Yeah, and I think that's so important that you said that. A lot of times I make my students listen to shows. We talk about, having the relationships, with your consultants and things like that and all those other people. It's really so important, isn't it? I think sometimes, we forget those things. So
critical.
I think it's important you said that. So Matt, back to you. What are some of the future growth plans in the United States for the franchise in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, we're really excited about our growth. I mean, this company has been growing consistently for 25 years, and even in this economy, which is, tough on lots of people out there, we are in a growth pattern, a little less than we've experienced in the past, but we're still growing. If I use the U.S. as an example, Canadian market where we're actually we sell about 1 of every 4 cruises, and so we've got some pretty good market share. And so when we decided to go down to the States, that was only about 4 years ago or so.
Right.
And we are now about 20% of our revenue there, and I would say within 5 years from now, we'll be about 50% of our revenue, of our top sales, will be in the States. So that's an aggressive growth plan. So right now, I had mentioned earlier, we're about 4,000 agents, and over the next 5 to 7 years, we would like to be around 10,000 agents overall. So,
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee and all the services that you provide? Any websites they should go to? Any numbers that they should call?
Yeah, great question. I think the easiest is to go to ExpediaFranchise.com.
Okay.
And that will give them access to both franchise offerings, as well as it'll link them if they want to just be an agent, because some people get into this career path just starting out as an agent.
As an agent. That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you again, Matthew and Mary Beth. It was wonderful to finally have you on the show, and I'd really like to invite you back in 2013 and watch as you all continue to grow. It's great to have you on the show.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks so much, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 4 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Check out our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now for almost 2 years, and in that time frame we've had some fantastic quotes on the topic of franchising. Today you're going to get to hear from Gary Ochiogrosso of the Desert Moon Fresh Mexican Grill franchise concept. And Gary answers the question, what is the best franchise? It's a common question that Don, myself, and Gary have received over the last decade, and I thought Gary's response was fantastic. He also talks about the three-legged stool of a successful franchise. His answer was brilliant. Today's podcast is being brought to you by Franchise Interviews, LLC, and Franchise Interviews gives you an up-close and behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get inside tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show on Blog Talk Radio. Each week you get to hear interviews with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and franchise attorneys, and our franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. And here we go with Gary Ochiogrosso of the Desert Moon Franchise Concept.
Running the business as long as I have the passion and the work ethic, really.
And that's a great point. I do several seminars a year on the topic of franchising, and I'll tell you, I don't think that there isn't a meeting that goes by that someone in the audience doesn't raise their hand and ask me what I think, quote, the best franchise is.
I get that all the time. Myself, Gary, being in financing, people always asking me.
Same here.
Yeah, and first of all, ultimately that's a money question, and I'm not. I'm one of those folks who believe if you chase money, you won't get any. So my response over the years has always been the same. It's not about, quote, the best franchise. It's about really what is the best franchise for you. What's your passion? What do you love to do? What are you good at? Because again, quoting Michael Gerber, once you get past that infancy stage where you are the technician, or as we say in our business, the chief cook and bottle wash, you then need to expand your business by getting started on the work of an entrepreneur and bringing the technicians and the managers in to work with you on your business. So to simply ask what's the best franchise is to simply say what's the best automobile. I guess the issue is what's the criterion? What are you looking for? What are you good at? What's your background? And most importantly, what are you passionate about? If you're not passionate about building a business, then chances are you'll get exactly what you may be passionate or not passionate about. And in the case of a lack of passion, that would be nothing.
When people ask that to me, Gary, I say there's thousands of franchises. How the heck do I know?
There you go.
Absolutely. It's a very for experienced franchisees, and I think you alluded earlier in the top of the show regarding some of the work that my friend Dan Rowe at Transmart is doing. There are experienced franchisees, certainly the type that Desert Moon is seeking, who have background in the food industry, who understand the business model of franchising, have an organization, and they take a system like Desert Moon Fresh Mexican Grill, and they plug it into their already existing system. And that's one type of franchisee. And then you have another type of franchisee who is the first-time business owner, the entrepreneur, the person who is dreaming of operating their own business and developing a business, whose approach is extremely different. Their approach is much more from a technical aspect, much more local. In the beginning, many of them work, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. Essentially, they buy themselves a job. And I don't mean that in a negative way, because in the beginning, for the first-time business owner, if they're involved in a business that they're unfamiliar with, that's a great way to learn the business. And then they develop from there. So there are different types of franchisees as well as different types of franchise companies and business models. So I'm convinced there's a good fit for everyone and anyone out there who wants to pursue the use of franchising as a development tool for themselves, either as a franchisee or a small business owner that wants to duplicate their business but doesn't want to open up a bunch of company stores. They want to use franchising as a tool. There are plenty of opportunities out there.
It sounds like Desert Moon will go in either direction in getting a new franchisee, either that already existing business owner experience or the first-time owner, right?
Absolutely. We obviously are cautious about who we bring in as franchisees. If you look at what I refer to as the three-legged stool of a successful franchise operation, the three legs are the concept, the operator, and the location. The first piece, the concept, I'm confident regarding Desert Moon Fresh Mexican Grill because we're a 16, 17-year-old company with a long operating history of success.
Right.
Location is something that is always up for grabs with potential franchisees because it's elusive in the sense that you need to understand what makes your operation work. So locations look different to different types of operation. But the other piece, the operator, who is the franchisee, that's key. even in a great location with a great concept, the wrong franchisee could fail. Because the franchisee is the pulse, is the heart of the business. The concept may be the brains, the location may be the legs, if you will, how it stands, but the franchisee is the heart of the business. And what the franchisee takes to the business really will set the tone.
That's
So
interesting.
we're very careful about franchisees, whether they're experienced or first-time business owners.
That's interesting. What do you look for in a... Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you again next week with another edition of Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.